I need to be challenged to do my best.
Something I think
Formats I always
Same doesn't set me up.
my journey.
I had a blast.
All right, folks, we're live. PNL Live. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you to our sponsors. We got Rudis, Jocko Fuel, and Sports. What is it, Jared Lawrence? Sports
Trip. They
Sports
book all
Trip.
of our hotels, travel. They're like your everyone in the travel industry.
I love it. Okay. We got an extra special guest on today, Mack Reiter. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
Good. You are our liaison to the Big Ten. You are our aficionado, so to speak. And you already educated me because I was looking for brackets and I didn't realize that brackets aren't out until tomorrow. So just a pre-seed. So explain the process here as we get started.
So each coach will get a packet of information that the Big Ten compiles, which essentially just boils down to their head-to-head matches against everybody within the Big Ten. They don't really care about what you did outside the Big Ten. You just rank the guys in their head-to-head matches against the field. And so each coach goes through all 10 weeks and they rank it the way they think it should be. They submit it blindly to the Big Ten. They compile all 14 teams' rankings, and then you get points based on it. And that's where we get the pre-seeds that count now. So what will happen tomorrow is each coach will come together. They have like a seeding meeting, and they'll talk about it. You can lobby for, moving up one spot or another, or down a spot or whatever. But you have to put in, I believe it's 3 points of the person that you're trying to make a case for why you should be seated above them. So if I come in and let's say I have 42 points and you have 46 and you're the 3 seed and I'm the 4 seed, it doesn't matter. I cannot make a case to get seated above you because you have 4 more points than me. So
it has to be within 3.
There will be a few that kind of can get changed, and we do have one that they tied. Vance Vonbauer and Don Fangaro at 141 are tied, so they'll have to talk about that one. They're T9, but for the most part, the pre-seeds do hold pretty true to what it ends up being because you have to make a pretty strong case as to why you should get changed from what everybody already voted on.
So like a coach can't just be like, I want my guy ranked number 1.
Yeah. I mean, you could technically, you fill out the pre-seeds the way you want it. You could put all your guys number 1. It's going to look bad and they're going to be able to, you submit them blindly, but it's going to be pretty easy to figure out who did that one. I do know that in the past, and I don't know if it still goes on, but I don't know that this format's the best way to do it because sometimes coaches who maybe went to college together or from the same place will reach out and be like, hey, I need you to take care of my guy here this way. I'll rank you higher in a different way. And there's some kind of
back. Got a little inside trading going on.
Yeah.
All right.
So I feel like
everybody. I would be great at it. I would have
somebody else
everywhere.
Yeah, have somebody else that doesn't have a very, very direct tie to this situation do the seeding, but
like a coach that nobody likes.
But you do have to admit, though. Hold on, you do have to admit that it's way better than it used to be.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah, they do a good job, and I think coaches have kind of realized like, hey, I'm going to have to go sit in a room with all these people on Friday before the tournament, and I'm going to have to like look them in the face like, this is the way I seeded it. You're going to need to have a case for. You can't just say, "Oh, this guy. Yeah, I know he's 2 and 5 against the field, but I think he's the second best guy, so I put him number 2." You're just going to get.
There was one time we were doing a freestyle seating, and Brands wanted Ramos like way up there, and Ramos had never even wrestled freestyle. He just won the NCAAs, and he was way up. And I was like, "Hold on, we cannot put this guy." Up like he wanted him like 1 and 2, right? And I was like, there is no chance of this. He has not wrestled any freestyle. Like I get it, he's great, but we cannot do this. And he won that year. And Brand was just eye mugging me the whole time.
Well, you and probably a lot of other people. So
Yeah, that backfired on me big time. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, that happens. No, that's good. Those are great. Okay. Hey, so so for me, I looked at it, obviously weight order, right? Because that's where our brains work. They start at 25. That's what we do. Looking at 25, I believe they have 9 pre-qualified, top 9 at 125.
yes, yep.
Okay. So if we've all agreed that top 9 are going, what does that look like in terms of who do you think has a chance? Like, we can get into the who's going to win that weight, because first of all, that's a big old mess. But second of all, I want to know if there's anybody that you think is that is not in the top 9, like pre-seeds, that's going to get in, and you think you're pretty confident about it.
I mean, just right away look at number 10, Tristan Luan. He's wrestled Brandon McCrone twice this year. He beat him 6-1 once and lost to him in overtime about a month ago. So, that McCrone's 8 seed, Luan's 10. That's a toss up. Those guys meet in the backside. They've had 2 close matches this year. That's always kind of fun at the Big Ten tournament when it does get more than 8 qualifiers in a weight, because these guys that maybe went 1 and 2, you get sent down into this little 4-man bracket that one guy's going to get an automatic qualifying spot. So you can't get team points anymore, but those matches matter a ton. And that 9th, 10th place match, there's a lot on the line, because we've gotten pretty good at being able to figure out who's going to get the wild cards at NCAAs. We kind of figured the formula out. Some people have, but it's just, you don't want to leave it to chance. If you can get an auto bid, it's great. So Luan, he's a good wrestler. 25, like this whole year, has just been the wildest weight class.
Yeah, total nightmare.
It's
like you couldn't. Well, it's funny. It's like, I bet you if you're Ramos, you're going, oh, I don't want the 1 seed. I want the 1 seed. You can have it. I don't want it, because it seems like a surefire way to catch a loss is to be the favorite at this weight.
Yeah. That's what David Taylor said in one of the things. Like, the only thing that's guaranteed is whoever's the 1 seed at nationals will not win. But the 1 seed at this tournament is actually a pretty big deal, because 8 and 9, Brendan McCrone can be pretty nasty on top, and he's pretty funky. Sure. But like everybody else, like 1 through 7, like anybody could beat each other 1 through 7, and then like 8 down gets a little less, possibly.
Dean Peterson he's good. Like, he's the 9 seed.
He's real good.
He could be an All-American very easily, and he's the 9 seed at the Big Ten tournament.
I'm just saying, I would rather him than D'Agostino, right?
Right.
Or
those
I'd rather
are very
him
different
than
wrestlers, Jared.
Yeah, D'Agostino.
Those are very, very different wrestlers.
That's
Mac loves
interesting
D'Agostino's knee pads, by the way. His knee pads are Mac's favorite thing.
He got new ones at Michigan, and I don't like that. He had these
knee pads.
Yeah, he had these old knee pads when he was at Northwestern, and they were pretty ragged, and I loved it. And I just got such a kick out of it, because there was absolutely no way it was providing any cushion or value to his knees at all. And they were 20-year-old knee pads.
They had flies around it all the time. That was weird. I don't know why that was.
Yeah. And so now in Michigan, he's got new ones, and I just don't like that. I liked him better when he had those old ones at Northwestern. But that quarterfinals,
let's move on to 33, man. Okay. How many pre-seeds we take in there at 33, bud?
We have, hold on 1 second, we should have had that up.
7 automatic qualifiers at 133.
Yeah.
And the top 4, it looks like Ragusin, Chauver, Nagel, Buzakis, a little bit of Braxton Brown.
Could some of those
Madrigal.
switch? Like, I've seen Bozakis at 3, but then I thought I saw him down a little bit more, but maybe not.
No, they should be this is still what they released the first time. I think
Right.
yeah, and we don't know the points. Like I tried to talk to Luke and see if he would Becker and see if he'd tell me the points, and we could find out if there's even a chance that some of these could change. You know,
He
if
didn't
they're
hook you up?
and he said that they don't know them yet either. They won't find out the points.
He's full of it, Becker. Becker, you're full of it.
I would think they'd know, but maybe that's kind of the Big Ten's way of holding you from, like, you're going to have to make a case for your guy, and then you might show up and be like, well, I wasted all my time working on this case because, like, I'm not even going to get a chance to argue it because we're 4 points apart or whatever.
Mac, if you had to pick an upset in this way, what's your thoughts?
I mean, I kind of I don't know if you guys are doing any Big Ten fantasy things. There's a lot of tournament like contests out there where you got to pick a 1 through a 10 seed, one at each weight. So you get 1 seed, 1, 2, 1, 3, all the way down. I was kind of looking at this one, and Nagao at 5 is not a bad one. You're gonna, there's not a lot of 5 seeds that have a chance to either A, make the finals, or B, win the tournament. He lost in overtime to Ragusan. I know he got pinned, but it was an overtime match. It's, Jacob Van D, they haven't wrestled yet this year. I wouldn't be shocked. Nagao kind of went on a run last year around this time and made the finals, lost close to.
Now, he hasn't had a lot of matches. Has he been dinged up a little bit? Like, he's only got like 14 matches in the entire year. Now, Penn State's lineup has a lot of low matches, but I wondered if he got dinged up because I felt like he was out of a couple duels.
I think a little bit earlier, but I think they are really kind of, and I have no knowledge of this, but it seems like Penn State's really leaning into, kind of what the NBA has done, like that load management where we're just, there's no point in wrestling. And they have a little bit of an older team this year. Like, You don't need a 4th year or 5th year senior guy to wrestle 25 matches. It's just,
You don't need to go to the opens and get 10 matches. We did. We had to get like pin records and stuff.
Right.
We had a huge pin thing going on in Minnesota. So like your first couple opens, if you didn't get 8 pins, no chance.
Yeah, it just seems like up and down the lineup, they're low match count, and I mean, can't really say they're doing anything wrong.
Well, let me ask you this. No, that's fair. That's fair. But let me ask you this, Mac. Do you have any reason to believe that these older guys, and I'm not just about Penn State older guys, I'm talking about your boy McKee at Minnesota. Do we have reason to believe that they're knowing that they're older guys, they've been through Big Ten schedules for, over half a decade. Okay. Like it is what it is, right? Do we have reason to believe that these guys can turn it on for the postseason? Right? Because
I think it depends on the guy. Like there's certainly been a lot of cases of both ways where a guy has success as a freshman, sophomore, junior, and then you're thinking, okay, he's returning for his senior year. He's the highest returning All-American. He's for sure. He's going to win it. We got a national champ next year. And then they just don't have it that senior year. And I think that there's the body's just wore down. Now, some people are able to go the other way. There's guys that finally win it for the first time their senior year and they cap their careers off that way. It's just, you could make the case for either argument that you wanted to make. I think more and more it's looking like that last year, that 5th year, senior year is just hard. It's
in some instances, because of COVID, the 6th year.
Yes. And that's even more ridiculous. Like you're at 23 years old, you just cannot wrestle Friday night, Sunday night, or Sunday afternoon for 12 weeks. And there's no easy matches in the Big Ten. I don't care who you're dueling against. Like the guy you're wrestling is probably a state champ from wherever he's from. And like you may be a lot better, but that's still a match that takes a toll on your body. And when you go into that 6th year, that 5th year, it ain't easy.
I mean, Brody Teskey's not a bad wrestler.
No,
Right? He's pretty good.
Right. Champ in Iowa. Lost one match in high school.
And he's the 14th seed at 133 right now.
Correct.
So where does he fall into the play here? 14 goes, I'm not a bracket guy. Mack is the greatest bracket guy I've ever met. So he'll tell us.
The easiest way to always think about it is that 14 seed, if who he wrestle first round is going to be the round of 16. You'd go 17 minus 4. He'll wrestle the 3 seed. Because there's always one more than the number. So he has Buzaka's first round. That's one I heard rumors that they had Colin Shriver submitted, and then they changed it. And by the time they had changed it, it was too late. Like even the sheet that I have that the Big Ten sent out where they, you submitted your guy has Colin Shriver on it. So Iowa had originally entered him. That one could be a case where they might try to argue it. But again, if the 13 seed has more than 3 points, then I don't think you can. I
see what you're saying. It might just be that's the lot that because you came in late to the party.
Yep.
You're beat.
So Colin Shriver might have 12 points, but
for sure.
He's not the guy.
Shriver's 3-3 against the field. He's got wins over guys, so he was definitely going to be seated higher than 14. But by the time they had switched to go with Teskey instead, the seeding had already been done, and now they just slot Teskey in at the bottom. So whoever 13 seed is, if Patrick Adams, who is, he's 0-6 against the field, he may not have any seeding points. I don't know, because he may have been seeded 14th by all 14 coaches. And if that's the case, maybe they could then argue Teskey should be seated above him.
Yeah, which puts him at the 13th seed, but then who's he go against?
Then he would go against, he moves up against 4 against Jacob Van D. And that would be, I think you can only move up one spot. So he's either going in.
What they would rather.
Yeah. I don't think they want it. I think that the 3 seeds better, or going into the 3 is better because you get, if you can get by Buzakis, you have Tony Madrigal, who's the 6.
Yeah.
Whereas, if you go up,
I don't know that they would want to go up, is my point.
Right. You're going to have to get through Van D and then Nagao. And,
for sure.
It's an easier path in that spot he's in.
Wow.
What do we think in semis? Real quick. Yeah, let's just go semis. Who do we think? We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 semis. We're going to go Ragnarsson versus
Nagao's going to make this.
Nagao. Yep. Yeah. And then who do you think is going to pop out of the bottom?
I mean, Buzakis is pretty dang good. I don't think that Teskey, I think if he gets by Teskey, that's going to be a close match because Teskey wrestles everybody.
Shriver is good too. I would say 2 and 3 on that one too. Could be an easy vote. Yeah.
Let's see if Braxton Brown has wrestled Shriver. They have.
I'm going to go dark on my camera just for a second. I need more coffee.
Shriver won 9-5 about 2 weeks ago against Braxton Brown. So, not a blowout win, but
that's a pretty good win.
Yeah, 9-5. That's controlled. So I think 1, 2, 3, 5 probably would be my semi picks here.
That's fair. Okay, let's move along to 41, brother. This is the weight that I don't want to say I'm most excited for, but I think it's 11 a weight.
The 11 qualifiers.
That's wild, by the way.
That's a lot of guys getting auto qualified.
Yeah.
So
how does that work? So
it's just a super deep bracket.
No. But what I'm saying is, as far as brackets go, do they have 2 different little mini brackets at the bottom?
So since it's only 11, I don't believe they have to wrestle 13th and 14th place. But yes, everybody that loses in that second round of consolation, the 4 losers will go into a little mini bracket where there's just a semis and a finals. And then they'll actually have to wrestle an 11th place match as well in that one. So, your guys like the 7-10 and the 8-9 are kind of in that sweet spot where they will at least have a chance to wrestle for, like, they can't not be in that 11th place match essentially.
Gotcha.
So even if they lose first round, they're going to catch a bye, and they lose, so they go 0-3. They're still going for 11th, and we'll have it takes 11. So you win that. You don't lose your first 4 matches. You're in. It's kind of an interesting way to look at it.
That's one way to go about getting to the national tournament. Not the best way.
That's the only thing that matters. That's all the Big Ten tournament is. Get to the nationals tournament.
That's right. Awesome. The top end is awesome though.
Yeah.
Like the top end of this bracket, Bartlett, Woods, and Mendez and Hardy are all like so different as wrestlers. So, they just bring so much to the table. I love this little 4-man bracket. I really do.
Yeah.
I wanted to see Lemley versus Woods again. God, that was a good match too, because there'd be some fire coming out now.
Yeah, I don't know if Michigan could try to argue if he's close enough to Danny Puccino, if they want to argue to
down. They want to go the opposite.
We're actually the 6th best guy. Right?
that doesn't usually work that way, but that's not a bad play.
Try and get down there. I mean, he looked real good against Woods, and certainly Woods did not.
How did him and Hardy go? Did Michigan? How'd that match go?
Let me see. Lemley he wrestled Hardy. He lost 13-9. That was the next week after the Iowa game.
Yeah. See, like that might be a thing where I'm like, well, I like the odds of getting the 6th seed versus the 4th seed. That would be a hell of a play on Michigan. Like if Michigan is listening to this, like, guys, listen, we're smart.
Let's start talking about Danny Puccino. That's all Michigan's going to be singing Danny Puccino's praises.
Okay.
He doesn't have enough good wins at all to.
I just want to look at. I'm taking a look at Lemley's season so far. Who else does he have losses to that he's all the way down there?
In the Big Ten, he has Bartlett and Hardy are his 2 losses.
Okay.
So, and they don't really care. Like I said, they don't care about what you've done outside of the Big Ten. For the seeding in the Big Ten tournament, it is purely what have you done this season.
Yeah.
And
I would argue to go down a position. I know that sounds really weird, but that's what I would do if I were them.
And yeah, so Lemley's his loss to Hardy kind of hurt him because Hardy has losses to Bartlett, Woods, and Mendez.
Just so we're clear, like he does have some. I don't want to call them ugly losses because Cale Happel's good and Tegan Jameson is good, but I don't know that they're real as Bo Bartlett and Hardy good. You know what I'm saying?
We can be overvaluing him just off of one incredibly good performance on a night.
He wrestled out of his shoes.
Right.
He wrestled out of his shoes against Woods.
And in an environment where his team had come out, they'd won the first 2 matches, like the crowd was into it. Like it was, as a freshman, like you must be feeling on top of the world walking out into that mat. So different environment in a neutral arena in Maryland. And maybe that's, something to keep in mind.
Yeah, for sure. All right. 49, brother. This is a top heavy one too.
Jared loves this weight.
This weight's always the hardest. Let's just see it for what it is.
You seem biased, but
now,
okay.
Mac also loves Ridgie though, so there is a
yes. Riggie's my favorite guy in the entire tournament.
Dude, he's fireworks, dude. I love watching that kid wrestle.
Mac, how do you say Iowa's guy's last name? We got into this the other night. We couldn't figure it out.
Ratchie.
I mean, why wouldn't you get Ratchie out of that?
Yeah, trust me. I don't understand it. But yeah, Ratchie.
Okay. Like Ratchet and Clank with a Y on it. Got it. I won't forget it now. Ratchet.
Okay. But I mean, just looking at the weight, if we get the 1-2 in the finals, we get a rematch of Lincoln final, although it only lasted 23 seconds or something like that. It was awesome. They both just said, like, rep blows a whistle, we're going to tie up, and one of us is throwing the other, and we're getting off this mat quick.
Yeah. Okay. Here's the thing, though. Generally, I would say that type of an exchange is going to favor a guy like Austin Gomez pretty much every time. And I think everyone would agree with me. But
I think
it seemed like, right?
In the duel, I think it just, like, Ridge almost figured out that he's a lot taller than Gomez, right? He has leverage. And it almost seemed like he realized, I can use that leverage. And he just, like, I don't know, I can't remember if he went double overs or what, but Gomez's feet were, like, almost off the ground before he threw him. And it seemed like he kind of unlocked something. And then, Ridge is so good on top that Gomez just didn't have a plan for what Ridge was going to give him from that top position. It didn't seem like. So I'm sure they're going to make adjustments.
Well, he's been working a lot of good top and bottom since he was just qualifying the weight and freestyle. So
yeah.
He's been working a lot of stand-ups.
Well, it did look like he was working freestyle bottom in that match against Ridge a couple months ago.
Yes, I was just going to say, like, his parterre D looked great. I mean, if we're going to be honest about it,
he did not get off the mat.
But here's the thing, right? A guy like Gomez has a puncher's chance in every single match that he's in. And I just think that Ridge is a little bit smarter than he was. Yeah.
He is.
I think Ridge got a little bit smarter over the last 2 years, and I think I don't have to go up top there. I can. Like, he knows how to wrestle up there, but I think he realized, like, I don't have to be up there, right? Like, it was quite obvious that was Austin Gomez's idea.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Now, we should, for the people that are listening that don't have a computer in front of them, we should maybe just, I know we're halfway through already, and most of them we have, but we should maybe just run through the top, seeds, like what they are, even through 5 even.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get, because how many are they taking? They're taking how many at 40? What are we talking about? 49.
49 has 9.
How many?
We have 9.
Okay, so then just run through the top 9 pre-seeds.
Ridge Lovett, obviously, at 1. Austin Gomez at 2. Caleb Ratchey at 3. And then Tyler Kasich, we haven't mentioned yet. If he makes a semi, even that second round in the morning on Saturday morning, him and Dylan D'Amelio, who's the 5, is an incredible.
How'd that match go?
Kasich and D'Amelio.
It was a good match.
Kasich won 7-1.
I think there's 2 takedowns in there that was like one, maybe D'Amelio was like in and then lost it, which is when you look at it from that, it's a 6-point swing.
Yep.
Even though it sounds bad.
And then after D'Amelio, we got Ethan Miller from Maryland at 6, Joseph Zargo, Wisconsin at 7, Graham Rooks of Indiana at 8, and then Drew Roberts, Minnesota at 9.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
What year is Zargo? Do you think him and Gomez were working out last year?
I'm sure.
Joseph's one of mine. He's, I believe, a junior right now. So he's been there. Okay. He was there with
yeah.
Gomez.
So they could have a little feel.
Yeah. Joseph is very balls and strikes right down the middle. Got, his high single stuff. He hand fights very well. He stays in position very well. But again, I'm sure he's added to his arsenal since moving to Madison. But when I had him, he couldn't wrestle up top very well. Now, that said, if he minds his P's and Q's and he keeps his elbows close to his body, there's a good chance that he can make that a really boring match and steal a takedown at the end. But yeah, I mean, Gomez is really solid up there.
Okay.
57. What we got here?
This
57, Ryder.
This one is insane to me, like really insane.
We have 9 qualifiers at 57. again.
Again.
I know, but like, yeah, this is
from a Minnesota perspective, which obviously Jared and I both graduated Minnesota. I do love kind of how this bracket broke out, just with the pre-seeds. I think that the top half is absolutely loaded. And then that leaves kind of the bottom with Blockus sitting there in a really good spot. Now it's still, you're trying to make the finals of the Big Tens. It's not going to be easy in any way. There's no possible way to get through to the finals without having a tough match. But up top, you got Levi Haynes, Jared Franek, and Peyton Robb, all up above up there. And that's
okay.
That's really good. That's deep. Yeah. And then even Joey Blaze, who has a pin over Peyton Robb earlier this year, he's up there.
And he's got a win over somebody else too that was real big. Who did he pin? Who did he beat earlier in the year?
He's dangerous. He
beat somebody real on early.
He has wins over Chumley, Robb, and Al DeSantis within the Big Ten. It must have been outside the Big Ten win.
Yeah, but it was a big win, which doesn't matter. But still, like that's like 8, 9, and then you got to go against Levi Hayes is not a. How bad did Hayes and Blaze? Did they wrestle? Haynes and Blaze?
They have not yet this year.
Chase Saldate is tougher than hell too.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, there is, like I said, there is no easy way. So Saldate, I like Brayton Lee a lot. I really do. He was with Minnesota forever. One of the nicest kids imaginable. He was just a good kid. Did everything right. And I know he's undefeated on the year, but he's 5-0. Just hasn't wrestled much, and he's coming off some major injuries and stuff. So he doesn't need.
He had some gnarly. Didn't he like rip a pec or something like that?
Yeah, and his elbow went out one time. Like he's just, his body's is having,
I would be willing to bet that this one could change a little bit with Brayton only being 5-0 and not wrestling a whole lot of people.
Yeah.
Like Iowa, like for sure should be trying to get to the 3 seed just because I think that favors them. So I could see this bracket, changing with Franek being the 4th seed. I could really see Iowa trying to push him to the 3 seed. Trying to get down.
Big thing is his loss to Will Luan really hurts him to try to move up too far.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
It's just how they can sell it, right? Are they going to use that? Or are they going to say, well, he beat Peyton beat Will, this guy beat Will,
But Brayton Lee beat Will Luan. So it's just the only head-to-head they have, Brayton's got a win and Frank's got a loss. And Brayton hasn't lost. So
I could see Chase Saldate winning that 6-3 match as well.
That's what I was kind of getting to. Soldate's probably pretty happy with the draw. And then, down the bottom, Blockus and probably going to have Luan in the quarters, which we all know how that match is going to go.
Do you think that what was your sponsor for Luan, Mike Mao? What was it? You had a sponsor for it.
Oh, sponsored by Ambien.
Sponsored by Ambien. That's right.
So I believe that I was like very early on this Will Luan overtime thing, like 3 years ago when it was starting. And I was like, this guy, like, nope, why is not anybody else seeing this? Like, he doesn't do anything. And I was like getting all worked up about it. And then now it's like everybody's kind of come on board under this thing and keeping an eye on it. So I've actually gone full circle the other way. I'm watching all Will Luan matches from here on out. Like, he is a true master of his craft. Like, he's going to take you to overtime where you have not wrestled very many matches and you're not used to it. And he has. Like, he's
used to overtime. He's used to it for sure.
He knows how to play the game, the riding game, where you're just trying to get one more second than that guy, and he's great at it.
He really is. Look, here's the thing. I tell my son this all the time. there are a lot of different ways to win wrestling matches. They might not all be your favorite way, okay? But there's a lot of different ways to win wrestling matches. And Will LeBron has taken a set of tools that most people cannot build a shed with, and he has built a mansion. So I would say that you're right. You can't hate on it. I'm just saying it's not my favorite style of wrestling.
Yeah.
I don't blame you for that. I love it
He
now.
can be in every match, though. I mean, like, it's hard. I mean, he could
No, there's
easily.
not a match that he won't be in.
Right.
He can shut down anybody. He can shut down anybody. You know?
I mean, he lost
All right, we gotta
matches
move
this
on.
year, but it was off stall calls. I mean, he lost to, like,
He lost
Levi Haynes
multiple
maybe
matches
off
on
a stall call. He lost to, like, 3 times on a stall call.
Yeah.
All right, we got to move on. 65
Yep.
is a bear.
65 is taking 10 automatic qualifiers.
Unreal. And it's Hamady, Messenbrink, Caliendo, Caleb Fish, Antrell Taylor, Cam Amin, Bryce Hepner, Tyler Lillard, Max Mayfield, and then Stony Buell, which is the coolest name in the bracket. Is 65 the best weight class around the country? Would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Like, you got David Carr, you know, that whole thing going on in the Big 12s with him and
Him and Keegan.
Cool.
Are they going to wrestle?
Cool.
Are they going to wrestle in the Big Ten finals, or is somebody going to bow down?
I don't think so. I think they'll wrestle because Carr's going for this would be his 4th or 5th Big 12 title. 4th.
Yeah, 4th.
So like he's not missing that match, right? And I don't think Keegan. I truly believe that Keegan was sick. It seemed like all of Missouri was sick 2 weeks ago, and it sucks, but it just kind of happens sometimes. I don't think Keegan backs down from anybody. So I think they will wrestle the Big 12 finals.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot on the line in that match because the loser likely is going to get on the same side as Messenbrink. And so the winner's going to have, you know, you have Isaac Lesnick, there's so many really, really good guys. But I think that in my mind, there's 3 that are just a tier above, and that's O'Toole, Carr, and Messenbrink.
Can Caliendo, because Caliendo can put up points. So does he have a shot of winning this thing this weekend? Because you know, here's the only reason I say that, and like I'm not here to trumpet Iowa all day, but I think when you put 7-point takedowns into the mix, or you know, 6-point reversals, right? Like 6-point reversals are a thing, you know?
Yep.
So I just think that you sometimes you get a kid like Caliendo who can score from a lot of different positions.
Yep.
And he starts running up a score, and it's hard to come back now with 3-point takedowns and 7-point takedowns.
I just think it's going to be like he's going to have to go through both Messenbrink and Hamidi to win it. He lost to Messenbrink 12-6 in a match that like didn't even really feel that close. And then he lost to Hamidi 14-11. So there's, you know, that match is a little bit closer, but it would take 2 pretty big reversal outcomes for him to win it this weekend. I think it would be different if you only had to go through one of them, but trying to get through both and having to get through Messenbrink first, I think is the hardest thing.
So gun to head, you would say
Messenbrink.
I think Messenbrink's going to win it. I think he's going to beat Hamidi.
I'd be really interesting to see how that one goes, because you get these guys like Hamidi's not an aggressor. He's not, you know, he gets out of position a lot, but again, he finds a way to win like that, man. He gets on top, you get to his leg, you know, and Messenbrink shoots a lot. He's diving in a lot. He moves a lot. He's a lot more like aggressive. Like they're like, one's a sloth and one's like super fast, but they're both really good at their craft. Mm-hmm. So like, I'm just excited. I'm real curious to see Messenbrink diving in a bunch, and if Hamidi can make score from there.
Yeah, if Hamady gets that first takedown, I mean, he's so good on top that he could ride for a while and change the flow of the match.
Yeah.
But he needs that first takedown.
I'm real excited for that one.
Okay. 74. Are we going to see Storace wrestle?
They've been so good at keeping this thing a secret, man.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what's going on. I heard a rumor it was just a cartilage, right? And then if it is, like, did you have surgery? And you're like 2 weeks, you back.
I mean, Kale did that interview, and he said a lot of words without saying anything at all.
That is the most Penn State thing ever. You say 17 words, and none of them mean anything.
Yeah, and it's all just talking in circles. Like, it just because they keep everything so in-house and,
I guess. But here's why I don't think we're going to see him. I can remember in 2017 when Nick Soriano was quite obviously injured.
Yep.
And he's like, oh, he's working out downstairs. What? Okay. So I'd be very surprised if we see Storace this weekend. I'd be very surprised. And I'm sure he'll get
when it doesn't matter for him because he's so good. So as long as he can just get back healthy, like what I'm saying, like if he tore a meniscus and had surgery already, and he just needs a couple weeks, right? There's no reason to push anything and have anything bad because you're good enough anyway. So whether you get seated 8 or 9 at nationals is irrelevant. However, I don't know how far he would go down, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he
probably.
Who
do you like then if it's not?
If it's not Storace,
who do you like?
Griffith, like, really, that match against Kennedy earlier this year, I mean, it was 11-1, and he dominated every single position of that match. He would be, pretty easy guy to say. I think, if we don't get Storace, that Andrew Sparks, DJ Washington match is huge first round because the winner that's auto qualified then. Because if Storace going to wrestle, now you're into the semi. So this way it takes 8. There's a lot on the line there for a match that's going to happen at 11:15 in the morning Saturday morning. That's one of my. I've gone to the Big Ten tournament every year except for the year of Rutgers since 2003, and it's the funnest tournament. It's different than NCAA's because it's the first round. There is matches you're like, oh my god, these guys are ranked 10th and 11th in the country, and they're wrestling at 11 a.m. Saturday morning.
It is distilled. Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's awesome. All right, 84 coming up here, and it looks like, let's see, 8 auto qualifiers.
Yep.
Lenny Pinto, Isaiah Salazar, Bernie Truax, Ryder Rogotsky, Jaden Bullock, Lane Malashewski, Shane Legal, and Ryan Saldano. There are some pinners in this weight class. There are some pinners. Your boy.
We didn't even mention Roman Rogotsky.
Yeah.
Who? Oh yeah,
brothers. You got 2 brothers in the same weight, so we're just. I know I was talking to Perry the other night, and he's just praying that his kids are not on the same side.
As it is right now, they are not. Ryder's the 4 and Roman's 10. They're on opposite sides, and there's not really an easy path that they couldn't. They can't. Where they're sitting right now, they can't meet before they both would be NCAA qualifiers.
Well,
so that's good. There's not like a, hey, we're going to wrestle and one of us is winning and going NCAAs and the others isn't going, by the time they could ever meet, they're already both qualifiers. So that was, hopefully they don't move in the bracket. Hopefully they stay right where they are.
Who do you like in the finals here, bud?
So I really like Isaiah Salazar's spot up top. He's wrestling really good lately. Got that, a big win over Lenny Pinto in the duel up here in Minneapolis, which, was a fun, Friday night duel. And I think he's just kind of, I know Reiter is dangerous. We all saw what he did to Bernie Truex. But
Sure.
I think that Isaiah he's so strong and he stays in really good position usually that it's just going to be tough for Reiter to. Now, I'm not saying he won't because he can create something from anywhere. But I think it's just going to be tough for him to make something against Salazar. And then the bottom, Truex Pinto is a really fun one. Pinto won 8-6, about a month ago in the duel. And, those two are two very, very good wrestlers. Obviously, Truex, 3-time All-American. That's a match. Historically, Penn State's done pretty good at flipping results when it get to the Big Tens or get to the NCAAs. And they're really good in I know the NCAA semifinals, their record is something stupid absurd. So Big Ten semis, Saturday night match. That's Truex Pinto's a fun one.
Yeah, I like it. All right. 97. It's Aaron Brooks's weight to give up. And I don't see anybody.
No.
That's
How many
going to-
qualifiers?
7.
7 qualifiers. And then
So let's run
down
through
to
them 1 through 7 real quick, Mac, would you?
Yeah,
It's-
Aaron Brooks,
it's
Penn State.
Good.
Jackson Smith, Maryland, Zach Glazier, Iowa, Silas Allred, Nebraska, Garrett Joles, Minnesota, and then Luke, I don't know how to say that, Giog of Ohio State. And then just on the outside is John Poznansky of Rutgers, he is 7. Sorry, Poznansky's 7. So he's in too as well, right? As of now, but
that's an All-American.
Right. Who's on the bubble qualifier.
7 seed. I mean, 97's tricky, right? I mean, I think it's across the country, it's probably Hidley and AB.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see many people really disputing that. But fighting for that 8th place match becomes where the fun is for me in
There's
this.
so much on the line.
There's so much, you'll never see. I mean, it's almost like we get a couple of different blood rounds.
Yeah.
It's like watching these kids fight for 7th place on the podium is awesome.
Just kind of looking at potential upsets. I mean, I think I wouldn't be shocked if Poznansky gets to the semis. I mean, he'd have to get through Jackson Smith. But Jackson's 5-1 against the field. Doesn't really have any big wins, good wins. He's got the 1 loss to Brooks. And Glazier, then I think Glazier's into the semis and very easily could be finals. I actually let's go out on a limb and say we got Glazier Poznansky semi.
Oh, I like that. And Glazier's a good athlete. Like he's an above average athlete.
Man.
Not
a lot of people can take him down.
Yeah. And same thing with Paz, right? His defense is probably better than his offense.
Yeah.
He's a all of 197 pounds, and he's doing full splits, and he's finding ankles in places, and he can wrestle.
There's a lot of 197 pounders that can do the splits.
Yeah.
Him and AJ.
All right. 285. Again, I think this is Kirklee's.
7. Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's his way to lose. But who do you think is coming out of the other end of the bracket? Because they're taking 7 auto qualifiers.
Yep.
It's Kirkfleet, Lucas Davison, Nick Feldman, Slavakuski, Seth Nevels. There's more Nevels?
Yeah.
Jeez.
I think he's got to be a senior at this point.
I mean, he's like my age. She's got to be. Don't you laugh at that. That's not that funny. Yeah. So I mean, it's Kirkfleet, right? It's Kirkfleet. But I guess, do you think that there's a way for Nick Feldman to make the finals?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's the 2 seed. He has a win over Davison. He beat Davison 4-3 earlier. So
that's right.
It's just, Feldman's kind of another guy. He's pretty dang tough to score on. It's just Davison, I think, is just going to have a hard time. Feldman's so strong.
And Davidson's small, so where like Greg can do well against David, against both of those guys, is they're not huge heavyweights.
Right.
Right. And so that's where I think Feldman can beat a guy like Davidson just because they're the same size. They got to be like 230.
Yeah.
Right. Here's a side bet. So if Tabor can beat
Josh
Terrell, so him and Greg would meet in the quarters. They are high school teammates. Kind of
really?
Side note. Side note for you.
I was disappointed that I was going with Bradley Hill instead of Keeter. It felt like Keeter was really starting to get his legs under him a little bit more. I know that first match he didn't look great against Tabor, and then Greg kind of put it to him a bit. But other than that, man, he looked pretty good towards the end of the season. Was kind of going on a little bit of run, and this weight's not.
I mean, the kid can wrestle.
He could be an All-American at this weight very easy. I felt like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, that's the top heavy weight, right? It's not as deep as it has been in
the
last 5-7 years. Like we're living through some of the best college heavyweights ever, right?
Yeah.
So, all right. What else, Mack Reiter? What else we got as far as the Big Ten tournament goes?
Not much. I'm super excited to get out there. I've not been to. I fly out tomorrow morning. I'm kind of pumped to go to Maryland. I've never been to College Park. Looks like the arena looks pretty nice. Everything looks pretty good there. Campus, whatever, right? Be very easy to get in and out of. Little fun fact for me personally, after this weekend, I'll have been to every Big Ten university except for Rutgers. And I think I might try to make that a life goal of never set foot on Rutgers campus.
You ain't missing much, bud. You ain't missing much.
If you had to pick a number 1 seed to go down other than Strachey, who's your pick?
Does it got to be before?
Just not to make the finals, or not to win.
Hamidy's not going to win. I feel like Ragason's kind of on borrowed time. He ain't gonna win. Ramos he's looking really good. I'd have a hard time picking against him right now, but Salazar is going to be tough to beat Pinto again. I know he won that match once, but didn't feel like that's a win every time match. So there's a few of them.
Okay.
All right.
It's good.
All right, man. Thank you so much for jumping on.
Thank you, guys.
Jared Lawrence, I appreciate y'all. All right. Catch you next time.